I don't believe what I just saw.
This is one of the great moments in the history of baseball.
I believe in miracles. Yes!
Is this the dagger?
It's April 2nd, and today, loyal listeners, you will be hearing history. For the first time, we, at this day in sports, will be looking forward as well as looking back. As Major League Baseball begins its 2024 season, our Dork Draft will see us three making some predictions that will no doubt come back to haunt us 6 months from now. But before we three Nostradamuses gaze into baseball's future, we've got some memorable sports stories from the past, including a swimmer leaving the Olympics to live in the jungle, a brawl in the Premier League that didn't involve fans or the other team, a couple of NHL stars say 50 is the new 35, Big Daddy picks him up and puts him down, a young woman from Tennessee humbles a couple of Yankee legends on the field, a football great begins his retirement but still wears tight pants, and a couple of March Madness moments that are unforgettable, even for people who can barely remember their own wedding anniversaries. And if that didn't hook you, keep in mind you'll have plenty of chances to mock the three of us in October if you stick around till the end. So sit back, enjoy, and keep the receipts on this episode of This Day in Sports.
Wow, April 2nd. That's exciting, Mike. So great intro. A few quick questions. Had a lot of time in your hands, obviously, and this week. Second, so keep the receipts. Is that about so you'll know what we talked about now?
Our predictions.
Or is that because it's tax season?
Oh.
No, it's because our picks.
Yeah. You want to? Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay. Could be a double meaning though. I mean, it is tax season. You don't do taxes, Mike?
I don't do taxes.
All right, that's fair.
Like Kramer.
Well, nothing ever went wrong for someone who didn't do taxes.
Yeah, no, that always ends well.
Other than Al Capone, we all know that one, right?
Yeah, I'm a little thrown because I like when I look at you today, I just see a big microphone face.
Oh yeah, microphone face. Yo, microphone face 1, 2. What is this?
Your camera's fine, but I just
That's I'm more a fan. I face this camera.
Yeah.
This is where the fans see me.
Yeah. No, I don't need to see you.
Matt, I've seen you.
I don't like to see you.
For those who don't know, I've known Matt since high school. That's plenty of time.
Bless you, Frank.
Yeah, but you always say bless
you. Mike noticed you didn't bless Frank, but that's
well. I'm still waiting for the next one.
Mike is deeply.
Mike's got the next
deeply unreligious.
Yes.
Doesn't say words like bless you.
But yeah, April 2nd, we're going to make some predictions.
We are.
They could come back to haunt us in October, maybe even Halloween, and that might be a bit late, but haunting predictions.
Yes. It probably, for some of you, it would have been better if it was April 1st because you're going to look like fools when this is over. Okay? But someone may look like a genius at the end of all this. This is all depending on how good you are at Major League Baseball. But it doesn't matter in the end of the day because right now we're at Cabin. And Cabin is the place to be no matter where you're at. Whether you be a fool or you be a Frank or you be an absolute genius. You're at Cabin and you're having a great time. Because here you can get a cut, get a shave, get a ton of compliments because you can come in here and just feel so much better leaving here. Smell great, look great. Grab some sort of gift for someone in your life, maybe for yourself. Everything you need is right here at Cabin, which is a barbershop and gentleman's supply. And if you need to know more, check out cabinforlife.ca. We strongly encourage you to do that.
Absolutely. So we're doing April 2nd. Should we jump in?
I think we should.
Yeah.
All right.
We told them about the date. We told them some previews. We told them where we are. Let's get down to it, Matt.
Let's get down to it. 1931, April 2nd. At an exhibition barnstorming game in Chattanooga, Jackie Mitchell, a 17-year-old who was pitching for the Double-A Chattanooga Lookouts at the time, struck out both Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth. You heard that right. She made her pro baseball. Oh man. Let's go. She made her. Yeah. She had a better debut than I did. She made her pro baseball debut that season, becoming just the second woman to appear in a minor league game. The first was Lizzie Arlington, who appeared in a game for the Reading Coal Heavers in 1898. Do you guys say Reading or Reading?
Well, I would say that it's a toss-up, really. I would have said Reading because I think Reading Railroad. Isn't that what you called it?
It is Reading, Pennsylvania.
In Monopoly?
Reading, Pennsylvania, and then Reading. And okay, so I butchered that. So just let me go back to say what an accomplishment for 17-year-old Jackie Mitchell, who struck out both Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth, and did it with 7 pitches, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, 1990 at McNichols Arena in Denver, UNLV crushed Duke 103-73 in the NCAA men's basketball tournament finals. It was the largest margin of victory in a finals game ever. Led by head coach Jerry Tarkanian, it was the first national championship in Runnin' Rebels history, and it denied the Blue Devils their first national title. Despite featuring 3 future NBA players in Stacey Augmon, Larry Johnson, and Greg Anthony, UNLV were actually led in scoring in the game by Anderson Hunt, who was named the tournament's most outstanding player. And Hunt was not ever drafted by an NBA team.
Wow. Well, any time Duke loses is a great day.
Yes, it's a day of national celebration.
Children Bevins household.
Yes.
So very, very exciting.
Everywhere but one small town in North Carolina.
Yeah, not a big Duke fan. If you need to know more about Duke, just know that Ben Mulrooney went there. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you guys.
Yeah,
come on.
Too soon.
No, he's just a great guy. 2019. April 2nd.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. I'm going to get him on the show now.
Sure,
definitively.
he'll be eager.
2019, April 2nd, during an 8-6 game versus San Diego, Arizona Diamondbacks pitcher Zach Greinke threw 6 innings and struck out 10 batters. He also hit 2 home runs and had 4 RBI in the game. One of the best hitters as a pitching hitter. 2 home runs and had 4 RBI in the game. So you think of Zach Greinke. Here he's the Diamondbacks. Which team do you associate Greinke with the most? Because he played with a lot of teams.
Kansas City, I think.
Yeah.
Just because he came up with them. He won a Cy Young there.
Feels like a Royal.
I mean, yeah, you're right. He pitched for the Dodgers. He pitched for the Angels.
Yep. The Astros.
But because he went back to the Royals at the end, too, I guess.
Yeah.
It kind of began, probably the Royals.
He was on that Brewers team in 2011 that was like, they were so stacked, and they just didn't have it in the playoffs. But that was the Fielder and Braun and Greinke, and they had Axford in closing.
Yeah.
Great team.
Did Greinke, he stepped away for a bit, didn't he? Like he had some...
He did. When he was a young man, yeah. Yeah, he when he was with Kansas City.
And he has amazing baseball quotes, fascinating guy.
Yeah, he really is. He's quite funny, too, but
Yeah,
he's
really
not typical.
Not typical. Not typical.
Great
Zach
picture.
Greinke.
April 2nd, 1980. Okay, this is... 2 things happened on the same night. I want to do these both here. They're both NHL hockey. So...
Okay.
1980, April 2nd, Montreal Canadian Guy Lafleur had 2 goals and an assist against Detroit, giving him 50 goals for the season, making him the first player in NHL history to score at least 50 goals in 6 consecutive seasons. Incredible. But also on the same night, Edmonton Oilers rookie Wayne Gretzky became the youngest player in NHL history to score 50 goals in a season in a 1-1 tie with the North Stars. He was 19 years and 2 months old at the time. What a night for... Did they have SportsCenter in 1980?
In 1980, they would just have it.
What a great night for...
79 it started, I feel like.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Or any highlight show.
Sure.
What a great night for highlight shows.
Yeah, sure. I mean, sit down and watch Global.
On the local news.
Sorry, I should have done a shout out to one of those.
Sports Center started in 79.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Bristol, Connecticut.
Yeah, with friend of the show, George Grant.
That's right.
George Grant started that
So
off in 79.
I think we know, but would you rather be at the Gretzky game or the Guy Lafleur game? Probably the Gretzky game, right?
I feel like the only reason I would like to be at the Lafleur game is because Gretzky had so many more of those moments.
That's true.
But
Okay.
Yeah.
Detroit or Edmonton?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Detroit in 1980, I don't know.
Yeah. Rough.
Tough town.
Yeah.
April 2nd, 2017, at the ANA Inspiration Tournament in Mission Hills, California, Ryu So-yeon won the second major tournament of her career in a playoff with Lexi Thompson. It was a bitter pill to swallow for Thompson, who had been penalized 4 strokes the day before for replacing her ball incorrectly on the green on the 17th hole. The infraction was noticed by a television reporter, and the penalty was assessed retroactively after she'd finished her round, which meant that in addition to receiving a 2-stroke penalty for incorrect placement, she was also penalized 2 strokes for turning in an incorrect scorecard.
Man.
That's one of those times where golf has too many stupid rules.
Yeah, sure.
Like, okay, fine, give her the 2 strokes if she did that. Like, I get that. But the scorecard?
Yeah.
Like, why is she keeping her own score?
That's crazy.
It's
That
on
is-
TV.
yeah.
We all know what her
Yeah,
score
they have to
is.
sign that card and turn
you know,
it in.
Yeah,
Every other sport has.
Yes, like we have a scoreboard. There's a big scoreboard in the 18. Like we know.
It's weird, but I kind of like it.
You
Am I
would.
alone
That
here?
doesn't surprise me at all.
Definitely would.
You know what? I
Yeah.
really like it.
Yeah.
It's great. That,
Analog.
yeah.
It's
Anything analog.
some tradition, and you still
Yeah.
have to you still have to sign your name to something and go
okay.
like, you
Yeah.
can't go what me? What,
That's
what
fine,
went
but
wrong?
why can't they just give it to her to sign at
Yeah.
the end and say,
Yes.
okay, yes, that's my score, but like, and then to give it to her retroactively
Yeah.
when she'd already signed it thinking she'd taken the 2-stroke penalty. Oh my, it's just,
It's
and for her to
ridiculous.
lose the tournament
Yeah.
because of that,
Yeah.
that's not sports. Like, it's not.
No.
That's
no.
not in the spirit of sport.
That's somebody's
You're right.
decision and somebody's job, though.
It's
to do that.
officiousness. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. So Lexi Thompson got screwed.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Sounds like a great movie.
Yeah.
If you have the DVD of that, bring it to the show.
That's true. If you got She's the Man and Lexi Thompson
Lexi Thompson gets
got
screwed.
screwed, that would be the one to watch.
One of the great golf
Well,
movies.
on the same day,
That'd be a good documentary.
on the same day in 2019, to April 2nd, 2019, we're switching now from baseball, where I had Zach Greinke. Now I'm flipping over to basketball. During a 119-103 home win over the Lakers, Oklahoma City guard Russell Westbrook had 20 points, 21 assists, and 20 rebounds, become the second player in NBA history to have a 20-20-20 triple-double. Wilt Chamberlain was the only other player to do it over 50 years earlier. Yeah, that's a very impressive score. And Westbrook's Hall of Fame right away.
Oh, he's an MVP.
Walks right in. And writers don't vote as much as they do in baseball.
I don't know, but he was
'Cause-
an MVP, so obviously they liked him
Yeah.
enough to vote for him.
They did.
You know.
Yeah. I'm just curious because I wonder if in baseball, because he's a prick, right? Allegedly.
Well, okay, so all I'll say about that, I don't know Russell Westbrook at all. Russell Westbrook is building affordable housing in downtown Los Angeles.
What an asshole.
On his own dime.
I told you, asshole.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we had that.
Now, Mike, maybe you're right, because imagine
If you'd listen.
how it'd be ridiculous if after that game he
Yeah.
had to hand in a scorecard with his
Yeah, there
you go.
20,
There it is.
And if he
and
signed
they
it
were-
wrong, they'd take it away
There
from
we
him.
go.
Yeah,
No, you
or
only
if
get
somebody-
19 now.
Yeah.
Now we're getting back to what's important. Golf
Okay.
has dumb rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've
Glad we
come
got
around.
there. Mike, I knew we'd get there.
Sticking with the sport of basketball, in 1986, the NCAA voted to adopt the three-point shot into games starting in the forthcoming 1986-87 season. The three-point line was placed 19 feet and 9 inches away from the net, as opposed to, I believe it was 23.9 inches in the NBA at the time and 22 in the corner. Since then, I think the NBA is now just 22 all the way around, 22 inches.
Yep.
What's strange is, what's strange to me is I forgot there was basketball before without the three-point.
Yeah.
line.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess there was. And the NCAA then moved it back again in 2009. They moved this to 20 feet and 9 inches, and then they moved it in 2020 to 22 and 1 3/4 inches, the same as international basketball.
Yeah.
Is everyone writing this down? Because there will be a test later.
Yeah. Thank you for
Hand
that.
in your scorecard when it's
Yeah, I
over.
better be right.
Yeah.
But that was, that's when they brought it in. 1986, the NCAA.
Yeah. I remember when they didn't have it and professional basketball did, for sure. And it seemed like they were kind of, some people were saying, we'll never have that in college basketball.
Yeah.
We'll never do it. And of course, people
take
got excited
long.
about it.
No, because the guys want to play in the pros, right? You gotta,
Yeah. Well, the first season that they had it in the NCAA, it accounted for just 14.4% of points.
Mm-hmm.
But by 2008, that went all the way up to 28.9.
The NBA was like that too.
Yeah.
Guys were.
And now it's 98% of your shots are from the three-point line.
Yeah. 2005, Newcastle United teammates Kieran Dyer and Lee Boyer were both sent off with red cards for fighting one another during a 3-0 home loss to EPL rivals Aston Villa at St. James Park. The two men had to be pulled apart by both teammates and opponents and left the Magpies with just 8 men left on the field, having already lost another player to a red card earlier in the match. Dyer was suspended for 3 matches by the FA for his role, but Boyer was suspended for 7 and fined £30,000. Boyer later pleaded guilty to instigating the fight and was fined £600 more in Newcastle Magistrates Court for doing so.
Wow. What was the fight about? Do we know?
No, it's not official, and both of them were kind of didn't talk about it a lot.
Okay.
Like they kept it in house pretty good as far as I could dig around and find anyway.
It's going to be about a woman.
But yeah, very possible.
Got to
yes.
be. Right, Matt?
I don't know.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I don't know, allegedly. I'll see you in Newcastle Magistrates Court, Sandy.
Well, bring your
libel.
pocketbook. In April 2nd, 1984, Georgetown defeated Houston 84-75 in the final game of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Hoyas center Patrick Ewing was named the tournament most valuable outstanding player. It was a tournament in most outstanding. I call it most valuable, most outstanding player. I think that's a double down. Most outstanding player, though Georgetown was led in scoring in the game by Reggie Williams, who had 19 points. With the win, John Thompson became the first black head coach ever to win a Division I basketball championship in men's or women's basketball.
Shout out.
Yes.
1996, in the ninth inning of a 10-6 win over the Twins in Minnesota, 32-year-old Detroit first baseman Cecil Fielder stole the first base of his MLB career. It happened in the 1,097th game of his career, setting an MLB record for the longest duration before stealing a base for the first time. The Twins' battery mates who were victimized by Big Daddy were Dan Nolte and Greg Myers.
Greg Myers probably you'll never get over that. Like if you're the catcher that Cecil Fielder stole on, you're like, I don't think I can play anymore. Or maybe move me to another spot.
But you know what? It's incredible is Fielder stole another base that year on July 3rd, later against Milwaukee. So he had 2 stolen bases in his career, both in the same year, in the middle or so, not first year or anything like that. But he was caught stealing 6 other times, all in different seasons. So he'd have caught stealing once in a season, caught stealing 2 years later, it'd be caught stealing once.
But that feels like it has to be for him, it would have to be a hit and run situation or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Hell would he run on his own?
And I think in this game where he did the first one, it was late in the game.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a thing of okay, I'm not going to cost us anything if I try this. You know what I mean? So that's probably part of it too, is he's I'm not going to get in real shit if I get thrown out. I'm not, it's not a 1-run game.
Yeah. I remember him trying to steal once, and he was a foot short of the bag. He slid, and then he went head first, and his body just stopped.
Yeah.
And he was a foot short, and the guy just walked over and just tagged him. It was just
I remember seeing him play the Mariners. I went to school in Windsor, so we went to Tiger Stadium, and center field in Tiger Stadium was 440 feet.
Holy smokes.
He hit a ball that I think he thought was going to go out of Tiger Stadium. Yeah. It short hopped the fence at about 430, just to the, and Griffey fielded it off the wall and threw a rocket to second and threw him out at second.
Oh wow!
I think when he hit it, he started to trot, thinking, "I just hit a ball 430 feet."
Yeah,
and it just hit the wall. Yeah. But then
Griffey,
that was one ugly slide into second.
Yeah,
too,
absolutely.
And that was bad.
Do you think a first baseman ever goads the guy into running? You can't.
Oh, I think so.
Tries to play on his
late
definitely.
in the game. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think first base should be hot mic'd all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's great. They do that in the All-Star game, don't they? Sometimes.
Yeah. They do it in
they had Votto mic'd too.
In the Iowa game.
He's funny.
He was mic'd up in the Iowa game.
He's very good.
Yeah, he's. But I know, and there's also there's guys all the time you shouldn't do it. You don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And if you're a guy that's got some ego, you're like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Have you ever had one? Have you got a stolen base?
Yeah. I feel like
you should get one.
This is a perfect chance.
It's really fun. Have you ever tried it?
Everybody's doing it.
Cecil caved. Is this me now?
Yep.
Yeah. 2018. Villanova defeated Michigan 79-62 in the finals of the NCAA men's basketball tournament in San Antonio. Wildcats guard Dante DiVincenzo was named most outstanding player of the tournament and scored 31 points in the finale, the most ever in a national title game by a player who did not start. Nova put on an offensive show in that year's tournament, winning all 6 of their games by more than 10 points and setting a tournament record for the most three-pointers made. Well, there you go, Sandy. Yep. 2018, all they're doing is hucking up threes.
There it is. It has changed basketball forever.
Yeah.
1969, LA's Ted Irvine scored the fastest overtime goal in NHL playoff history when he lit the lamp just 19 seconds into the extra period to defeat the California Golden Seals. It also gave the Kings their first postseason win in franchise history.
I was going to let out a seal sound when you said that, but I couldn't think of it in the moment.
They go, oh, they bark, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Huh? Or is that Sea Lions?
Oh, sea lions might do that.
Mike?
I have nothing.
Mike's not going to do it.
No.
Well, this is funny because it's the Kings versus the Golden Seals 1969 playoffs. And if you remember, this is like post-expansion
The Western
in 67.
Conference, yeah.
And this is all just like, well, the Blues are going to go again to the Stanley Cup or it was. But they were just crap teams made the playoffs those years.
Well,
in the
I think
Western.
all the new teams were all in the same division.
They all
right?
went west.
The original 6 were in
Yeah.
the one half, and the West was all
Yeah.
like all the new.
Yeah.
So it was the Seals and the Kings and like
Yeah. So that's why the
The
Blues had
Penguins
3 years
and-
in a row with
yeah,
Scotty Bowman
yeah.
coaching. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
terrible. Yeah.
Some of those Seals jerseys, you're like, is that a real jersey? You know,
Yeah.
those old.
Well, I have their hat, and it's that logo
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah.
It's like it's a triangular seal holding a hockey stick, but he has no hands.
Yeah.
So it's just hovering.
It just has like
it's in
a-
the area.
It's like this.
1995, at WrestleMania 11 in Hartford, Connecticut, former NFL All-Pro linebacker Lawrence Taylor defeated Bam Bam Bigelow in a singles match that was also the event's main event. Because Bigelow had brought several other heels out with him to stand along at ringside, Taylor brought out a number of current and former NFL players with him to be at the ring, including Ken Norton Jr., Chris Spielman, Ricky Jackson, Carl Banks, Reggie White, and Steve McMichael.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but
was
wow,
that?
that was just a rewind. That was a rewind. We're going back in the time machine.
Oh,
it's the
Frank's
seal.
got the seal sound going on,
I was
guys.
like, what is happening?
Yeah,
Someone just won
You got
$1,000.
the seal.
we got the seal.
There you go.
Thanks, Frank.
Yeah.
Well played,
Got
Frank.
this. I will say though, these former NFL players, they all wore sleeveless white shirts with LT's face on the front and their own name and number on the back.
Okay.
Whereas Taylor himself wore and wrestled in an NFL-style jersey with LT on the front and his name and number on the back. Ted DiBiase wore a tuxedo, and Bam Bam Bigelow wore flames.
Yeah,
that's what
And
everyone-
Ted DiBiase was the $1 Million Man, right?
Yeah.
That was his
Yeah.
whole shtick. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a pretty entertaining thing if you want to go watch it. I don't know. I don't remember this happening.
Yeah.
You guys remember this?
No.
happening?
Vaguely.
But amazingly, all those names you said of the football players
Oh, yeah,
were all
great.
big names, which is great.
Yeah.
Also, WrestleMania in Hartford, Connecticut.
Yeah.
That's you won't see that again.
Well,
Like
we've already
WrestleMania
talked.
11 kind of
No, yeah,
anticlimactic, I guess. Yeah, we'll put it in Hartford.
yeah. That's true. I mean, listen, we already talked about ESPN. We talked about
Yeah,
Sports
yeah.
Center. We're back to Connecticut.
Oh, this is the Connecticut.
It's all happening in Connecticut.
Sure.
Does
guys.
Connecticut have seals?
No.
Oh, you don't think so? You're on the water, right?
I'll
I
get back
think,
to
you
you
know
on
what? No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Hartford has whales, though.
More Pacific.
Hartford has Wales. Who is it?
You,
It's
sir.
me. 1992, the Astros traded 25-year-old pitcher Curt Schilling to Philadelphia in exchange for pitcher Jason Grimsley. Schilling played 9 seasons with the Phillies, appearing in 3 All-Star games and winning over 100 games, and led them to the 1993 World Series. Houston released Grimsley before he ever pitched a game for them.
God.
Oof.
Yeah, woof.
That's about as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
Is that just bad scouting? Obviously, coming.
Well, I think Schilling, that was the second time Schilling had already been traded.
Yeah, he went
so
from
I
Baltimore.
suspect
Really?
Schilling's
Yeah, Baltimore. Was supposed to-
personality tendencies were coming out a bit already, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and Schilling was not a good pitcher
No.
for the first few years. He
So
figured something out.
Yeah.
But he was not good until it's not like he had good numbers as a young pitcher. He did not.
So you're thinking not a great pitcher, bad maybe in the clubhouse, time to go.
I'm sure the combination didn't,
No.
made him easy to get rid of. And and obviously in Philly, he figured something out because he was
Yeah.
one of the best pitchers in the game for the next decade. More than that.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be a shithead, you might as well live in Philly.
Or Boston.
Oh,
Thank you.
come on now.
April 2nd, 1932.
You are winning fans left and right.
All right.
We've
here
already
we
got
are.
all the conservatives mad at us.
April.
Explode this podcast.
April 2nd, 1932. Tarzan the Ape Man was released in movie theaters today. It was the first of 12 very successful Tarzan films that starred Johnny Westmuller in the title role. Westmuller, a swimmer who was born in Hungary but emigrated to the U.S. at the age of 1, won 5 gold medals between 1924 and 1928 Olympics for the Americans before making the move to Hollywood.
Yes, he did. I think that's it. Are we to quick hits?
That's
now?
too quick. It's Matt, jump
let's
in.
get right before that. I just want to go
Yeah,
back
quickly,
to
yeah, thank you.
Westbrook. He was quite the philanthropist. Like
Yes.
he donated
Yeah, take it
a
back.
lot. Yeah, you should. He was building, open court, outdoor courts in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And he rebuilt new sports facility in L.A. and
he's building like hundreds of units of low-income
it's insane.
housing.
This guy
Yeah.
did a lot. Hospitals donated so much to communities.
I admit he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would do that. He what he radiates apparently is very different from what he actually is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
So take it back.
I'll take it back.
Sandy,
And
Yeah.
we're never going to get him on the show.
I'm
if you don't-
officially going to withdraw my quote. Westbrook's a prick. And
We're
say
gonna
that
we're
he's
gonna
a
make
great
that into
guy.
an Instagram reel for sure.
Can we also now hear something nice about the cities of Philly and who else did
Boston.
you? And
Boston.
Boston.
I might say
no.
one thing nice about Boston, but I'm never saying something nice about Philly. Yeah, and like I we talked. I'm from Flin Flon. Bobby Clark.
Yeah.
Still hate Philly.
Okay.
All right, quick hits,
Quick hits. In 1972, Chicago's Bobby Hull became the first NHL player to score at least 50 goals. Again with the 50 goals in 5 different seasons. When he reached 50 during a 6-1 win over the Red Wings. Apologies.
Different sport.
Yes. It was his 604th final goal that he ever scored for the Blackhawks. He left the WHA's Winnipeg Jets after that season. So what's interesting about that is the at least 50 goals in 5 different seasons. 8 years later, same day is when Guy Lafleur would accomplish that feat in 6 straight seasons.
Yeah.
As we heard earlier in the show. And again, apologize for the wrong name.
Quick hit, sort of. 1995, the University of Connecticut defeated Tennessee 71-52 in the final game of the NCAA women's basketball tournament in Minneapolis. Led by Rebecca Lobo, Kara Walters, and Nikisha Sales, the Huskies completed a 35-0 undefeated season and won the first national title in the program's history. How about that? 35-0 in your first national title.
Quick hit. In 1976, the A's traded 2 key members of their 3 consecutive World Series winning teams. Charlie Finley. Yeah. Sending outfielder and World Series MVP Reggie Jackson and 2-time All-Star pitcher Ken Holtzman to Baltimore. In exchange, Oakland received Mike Torres, Don Baylor, and Paul Mitchell. Reggie only stayed with the Orioles for 1 season before signing a lucrative free agent contract with the Yankees, and Holtzman made just 13 starts for Baltimore before he was traded to the Yankees in June. So all you Immaculate Grid friends out there, don't forget, Reggie and the Orioles.
Yeah.
Quick hit, 1959. 19-year-old Jack Nicklaus played his first ever round at the Masters, shooting a 76. The next day, he shot a 74 and missed the cut by 1 round.
Oof. Quick hit, 2002. Chicago White Sox pitcher John Roche made his MLB debut today, and at 6'11", he officially became the tallest player in Major League history. His height record was matched in 2022 by Giants pitcher Sean Gell. I think that's how you say it.
Jelly, I think.
Jelly.
It is.
There you go.
Jelly. Okay. Lots of hockey. Quick hits. In 1989, in his final game of the 88-89 regular season, Calgary Flames right winger Joe Mullen had a goal and 2 assists. He finished the season with 110 points, the most ever in an NHL season by an American-born player. Joe Mullen, 110 points. Wow.
That guy would turn
Joey
it up
Mullen,
during
yeah.
playoffs all the time, though. You wouldn't hear much about him, and in the playoffs, he would start.
Oh, man, yeah. And Pat LaFontaine shattered that record with 148 in 92-93.
Birthdays or one more round of quick hits?
One more round of quick hits.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Quick hits, 1939. After finishing runner-up the previous 2 times, Ralph Gouldal hung on to win the 6th staging of the Masters by 1 stroke over Sam Snead. Gouldal, who had also won the previous 2 U.S. Opens, shot a 33 on the final 9 holes with an eagle on number 13 to go with birdies on 10 and 15, balancing out a bogey on 17.
Nice.
Quick hit, 1996. An ominous opening day game at Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium as home plate umpire John McSherry suffered a heart attack just 7 pitches into the game between the Expos and the Reds and died minutes later. Said sentimental Reds owner after the game was over to a reporter, quote, "Snow this morning and now this. I don't believe it. I feel cheated."
Wow.
That's not a joke. She'd actually said that.
Hard shot. Classic.
Yeah.
Let's close out with our...
I believe she grew up in Philly.
Thank you. Let's close out with our April 2nd, 2001. Quick hit! A Mariners outfielder, Ichiro Suzuki, made his MLB debut after playing professionally for nearly a decade in Japan, recording 2 hits during a 5-4 win over the A's at Safeco Field. That season, Ichiro won both the AL Rookie of the Year and MVP awards and helped Seattle win an MLB record 116 games in the regular season before shitting the bed in the playoffs.
Oh.
Okay, let's get to those birthdays, Matt.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday in 1869 to Hall of Fame infielder and most times hit by a pitch leader with 287, Huey Jennings. He was born in Pittston, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
His Hall of Fame plaque calls him one of the game's mightiest mites.
Mightiest mites.
All right. Happy birthday, 1924, to the first Mexican-born MLB All-Star, 1954 American League batting champ Bobby Avila, born in Veracruz, Mexico.
Nice. Happy birthday, 1964, NCAA baseball all-time home run leader Pete Encavilla in Pebble Beach, California.
Great last name.
Yes, indeed.
Happy birthday, 1938 to Whirlaway, the 1941 American Horse Racing Triple Crown winner in Lexington, Kentucky. No cake for you, you're a horse.
Okay.
I'm just going to let that sit.
Yeah, please do.
Give it lots of air.
Can we get some room tone?
Yeah. Hang on. Get cold to work. And happy birthday, 1991, San Francisco 49ers linebacker who played just one NFL season, Chris Borland in Kettering, Ohio. I remember it well. He finished 4th in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting. He was really, really good, and then he suffered from concussions and, said, that's it. And he was 24.
Whoa.
He was really good.
Well, happy birthday, 1994, two-time NBA All-Star, 2019 NBA champion from your Toronto Raptors, Pascal Siakam in Douala, Cameroon.
Happy birthday, 1951, to 17-time LPGA tournament winning golfer and winner of 62 tournaments internationally, Ioka Okamoto was born in Hiroshima, Japan.
1945, 7-time All-Star and Gold Glove winner and World Series winner Reggie Smith in Shreveport, Louisiana. I think one of only about 7 guys who are switch hitters to hit 300 home runs.
Yeah.
Not many.
I love that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Well, time to blow out those horse candle cakes.
Horse candle cakes.
And lower the lights and bring out the casket, because in 1972, Mets manager Gil Hodges died of a heart attack, his second, playing a round of golf with his coaches in West Palm Beach, Florida, 2 days before his 48th birthday. Ooh. And when you were a kid, you thought he was old. And then he was 48.
And his second heart attack.
Oh, man.
My
what
goodness.
a bummer. What a bummer. And he took forever to get in the Hall of Fame, too.
Yeah, he did.
All right. Well, that's a bit of a bummer.
Tying in with baseball.
I think we might as well just close that out for the day.
Maybe we shouldn't end on death.
Okay, give me something great, Matt.
I didn't.
Come on, Matt. Bring us back to life.
Quick hit. New York pitcher, 2001. New York pitcher Roger Clemens became the American League's all-time leader in strikeouts during a 7-3 win over the Royals at Yankee Stadium. Clemens struck out 5 KC batters over 8 1/3 innings, leaving him with 3,509 career Ks, one more than the previous record holder, Walter Johnson, who had held the record for over 75 years.
Much better.
Much better
And
segment.
ties in better because Clemens...
Much better.
Clemens won 7 Cy Young Awards.
Absolutely. And
which is the most ever. And that's right, an MVP. And today, now, we are going to do a draft. We didn't pre-pick an order.
We didn't.
Which we love witnessing on air. We like to do that. So we're going to pick 5 categories, right?
That's right.
We're going to draft. We're going to pick AL and NL Cy Young and MVP award winners, who we think will win all those awards.
Yep.
And we're going to each pick a World Series winner.
Right.
Okay.
And the idea is that 6 months from now, we will have ample material for people to say, how could you have picked that person or that team?
I think that's perfect. Now,
that's entertaining for the fans.
I had one thought.
Okay.
For this draft, because it's all these different categories, and you want people to kind of keep up with what we're doing. Should we do it as, okay, this round we're doing, or
sure.
But because if you do 1 to 3,
we'll all take turns going first.
You can do you're first this round.
Sure.
Whatever it is. Okay, so I'm going to do this dice roll because people.
Why don't we just take turns? Just because it'll go faster is what I'm saying, and it'll expedite the show.
But do you want it just the first round? I'll just give you the first round. Here you go. I love writing this dice. Okay, Mike, you're second.
So that means I'm first, I guess.
You're third.
No, you're third.
Okay.
So we go that way.
All right.
Wait,
Which?
what?
But Mike, I'll tell you
You
what.
go ahead and pick your category because you're first.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate
I don't
that.
understand how this works.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to go NL MVP.
Okay.
The NL MVP, I think, is going to be Freddie Freeman. I know a lot of
Okay.
people think it could be another Dodger, but I feel strongly this is going to be the season that Freddie Freeman's going to be MVP. Sure.
Okay. Very good. So we're sticking to the NL. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take Fernando Tatis Jr. I
That's a
think
good
the Padres are due to have a much better year. I think he's going to be healthy again. He's going to play a full season. He had a great year last year and missed games because of suspension. And they're a better team this year. They're going to play better. I think if they get to the playoffs, he's going to be the main reason. I'm taking Tatis.
All right. Matt, who's your NL
Gosh,
MVP?
well, I'm left with my top two picks here. I want to take Mookie Betts, but I'm going to take Ronald Acuna Jr.
Okay.
Never heard of him.
Because, 40-some homers last year, 70-some stolen bases, if he even comes close to that.
Yep. I think we all did great when we'll especially love this when Ohtani wins it. Mike,
That's right. Yes.
Mike, go
Okay.
first this time.
I'm going to go to AL Cy Young,
Yep.
and I am going to pick Luis Castillo from the Mariners. I think with Cole hurt, it becomes a pretty wide open field.
Mm-hmm.
Castillo's got a good history. He's had a number of good years in a row. Seattle's pitching is very good. I think they'll get recognition for that, and he'll be seen as maybe the leader and of that pitching staff. So I'm taking Luis Castillo.
I support it because that's where I would have gone.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna. Okay, well, just this is AL Cy Young. I'll take Corbin Burns on Baltimore.
Safe bet again. All right.
Safe bet again, and I don't know. I think this is the year he does it.
Well, we shall see. I'm going to go with the homer pick, Kevin Gausman, because I just feel like, you know what? I never pick homers. I really don't. I mean, in drafts and whatever it is, I don't pick homer picks, but we're Jays fans, so I'm going to go with Kevin.
Sure, we got to have something to hope for.
Yeah, that's true enough.
Because I don't think you'll be picking the Jays to win the World Series.
No, I won't pick him to win the World Series. That's a safe bet. Matt.
Okay, Matt, you.
Go ahead.
Okay, I will pick AL MVP, and I will take Julio Rodriguez off Seattle.
Okay. That's it. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean,
No comment required.
he's a 5-tool player. He can do it all. I think he's going to have a great season.
All right. Well, sounded to you guys. I'll just go Juan Soto. I think he's going to be the Yankees. He will be MVP. I will say if Judge can stay healthy, I still feel like he could do it. But I think with his health issue, I think still be Soto.
I was going to pick Soto too.
Yeah.
I think also it's a contract year for him.
Yeah.
He stands to make
Yeah.
$400 or $500 million. He seems like the kind of guy who rises to the occasion.
Yeah.
I don't think the Yankees are going to be as good as people think, but I think I was going to pick him.
I was curious what his best on base percentage season was.
It's like it's well into the 400s.
It is, and I
He's
wonder if this year would be the best one.
He's like Ted Williams, basically.
Yeah, it's
It's
insane.
pretty incredible. So as a consolation pick, then I will take.
490.
There you
Wow.
go.
He had a 490 with Washington in 2020.
Well, 2020 was the shortened season, but
sure,
still.
but still 490, 465 the year after.
Yeah, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll take. Those were really my two big picks. I'll
Yep.
take Corey Seager for Texas. He's kind of been MVP of the playoffs.
Yep.
He's a
Twice.
great yeah.
And AL and NL, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And great player. If they have I think it'll be hard for them to have the same kind of year, but I still think he could put up monster numbers. And maybe Soto and Rodriguez will get hurt.
Yeah, that's it. So it's back to me.
Oh no, it's me. I think.
Okay.
No, yeah, you were first. Pardon me.
Yep, I think I'll just go a safe bet. I feel like NL Cy Young will be Strider, so I'm going to go with Spencer Strider.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pick.
That's pretty.
Okay, then I will take Zach Wheeler for Philadelphia.
Yep.
I think Philly's got a good team. They have a decent bullpen that'll help. He goes deep into games still. He's one of the few guys who does a lot of strikeouts, but not as many as Spencer Strider.
I think that Max Fried's going to do it this year.
I thought about him.
He
was in
fellow
my top
Atlanta.
3.
We're all thinking about Strider, but
Contract year.
I'm going to go Fried.
Stays healthy.
Little
But that's a good
things.
pick. I actually
Yeah.
thought he's in my top 3. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Mike, you get to do first on World Series.
Or are we doing rookies of the year or no?
Yeah, you didn't say we were going to, but
Are we doing that?
Oh, yeah.
You're right. I didn't say it.
We said rookie of the year.
Off air.
Did you prep rookie of the year?
I also pricked it.
Okay, great.
Oh, no.
Yes, I did. Rookie of the year.
Okay. This has been great.
Has it?
I'll go for AL rookie of the year, and I will pick Evan Carter for Texas.
Yep.
I know there are other guys getting more hype. I think he's the steadier player who has already had a taste of the major leagues. So I'm taking Evan Carter.
Okay. I am going to take, I'll take Wyatt Langford on Texas. It was my pick, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the guy who I'm not going to say who it is, but just, I don't know what's going on with him being sent down before the season. So there was another guy I was thinking of picking, but Sandy, who are you going to pick?
I'm going to go for more of a wild card here. A little bit more of a wild card. I think that Colton Cowser in Baltimore has a shot at it. And I feel like that. I'm just trying to think of how much Cedric's going to play, and I think I just feel like that's the right spot to go to.
Yeah, not just Cedric, but also like Austin Hayes. Like,
I don't know
how much room do they?
Yeah,
if that kid keeps, I
think that's the place to go. That's a bit of a long shot, but I think I'll go there.
It's good.
Yeah. I just think, and you would from your fantasy team, but sending Jackson Holiday down, I just didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I think he'll be back up pretty quick.
I agree.
Yeah. Who's up now? You did AL rookies. That's Matt.
I did. It's Matt.
Okay, NL rookie. I'm going to take San Francisco pitcher Kyle Harrison.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No comments required.
Sure. Great. Lefty coming up. I think he's, I think pitchers may be at a disadvantage to win it. Maybe that's crazy to say, but I just, I've been following this guy for a few years, and I just think he's going to be really good.
It's a good park to pitch in.
Okay. I'm going to just go with this. This is going to be the center field rookie patrol here, but Jackson Chirio in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Go with him as my other
for sure
option. So.
He's gonna because they signed him that big contract. He's gonna play in Milwaukee.
They're not gonna send him down. Exactly. He has the chances to do it.
Yeah, he's gonna play. So
I think it's quite possible based exactly on that playing time.
All right. I don't like making this pick because I'm not confident he's going to be as great as everybody thinks, but I'm still going to take Yoshinobu Yamamoto from the Dodgers. I know he's not as young as those other guys, but technically he's a rookie.
Yep.
That's all we're talking about. So he could be rookie of the year for the Dodgers.
Well, yeah, even in today we talked about Ichiro won in 2001.
Yeah.
Right.
It is possible.
It has. Yeah, sure it is.
World Series champs. Here we go.
That's you, I think, right?
It is. I think I'm just going to go safe bet on the Dodgers. To me, I think that's the best place to go for me, so I'll take the Dodgers.
Over... Or okay.
I can tell you who I think if you want me to tell you who.
No, that's fine.
I can tell you. Don't want to name names. I know you don't like that.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay, whatever. You can say if you want. It's just you're saying who's losing.
Sure, I think it's going to be Dodgers. I think the Orioles are going to make it.
Right. I agree with you on the Orioles part, but I think Atlanta is going to win the World Series.
Yep.
I don't like anything that's happening with the Dodgers. I don't like Mookie Betts playing shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the stuff swirling around Ohtani.
Yeah.
I don't like the way Yamamoto pitched in the first game.
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot of things that I just feel like, and there's always that team that spends so much money and then it collapses on itself.
Yeah.
I feel like
the Padres.
Right. And I feel like the Dodgers, everybody is kind of awarding. The Padres are better. The Diamondbacks are still good.
Giants are better.
The Giants are way better.
Yeah.
People are talking the Dodgers are going to win 110 games. There's no way they're going to do that.
I think
I understand why you make the pick.
I like
totally
the bullpen,
do.
but I like the Braves bullpen, obviously.
Yeah,
so,
I like the Braves.
Bullpen. Their starting lineup is pretty incredible if everybody stays healthy. I mean, you've got you got Paxton there, you got Glasnow there, you got
Glasnow's never pitched 120 innings.
No,
but he might not have to because
Kershaw.
But then you got so you're counting. So you're
Buehler.
telling me, who's not starting the season?
Yeah.
Kershaw, you don't know when he's coming.
Yeah.
And even when Buehler does, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You're counting on James Paxton and Tyler Glasnow, neither of whom ever pitch a full season.
Yeah.
Yamamoto, who's never pitched in the major leagues, and Ohtani's not pitching.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that good.
Yeah.
I really don't. And they traded away, they got Bobby Miller, but they traded away the Pepio to Tampa Bay. I don't think they're very deep. And Gratterall's hurt.
Yeah.
I don't think
Bobby
it's
Miller, I think, is going to be really good. You got
I'm not
Yarborough's
debating
in
that.
there to
You're honestly,
pick up some
you think
innings.
Yarborough is going to be?
No, not starting. I'm just saying he's bridging you to like you're going to have Phillips closing it. You're going to get Grater all back, and
You can see where losing Urias to
that's a big loss too, right? Like he was a good pitcher,
yeah.
but
I'm just worried about their defense on the infield.
well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Sure. Penn's
And
there,
they're
though.
and they're
Penn's
not
definitely
young
there.
either.
No.
Like they got
No.
Jason Hayward playing right field
But we know
and
that
Teoscar.
they're one of those teams,
Yes.
again, who can just go and get something.
At the trade deadline, they can pick
Anything.
up 9 people. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. It's true.
Well,
I'm just trying to convince myself the Braves is.
I actually was one or the other. I mean, obviously that's
Yeah.
an easier way to go, but yeah.
Well, I'll take Baltimore because they're just going to be so much fun to watch.
There you go.
I mean, I think they're watching I know it's the spring, but you watch them play the Jays in the spring, and you're like, these two teams aren't in the same. Like they're so athletic, they're so young, they're so and now with
They're
Burns
stacked. Yeah.
and Grayson Rodriguez, and they got Kimbrel to close games now. Like it's hard to imagine it could happen. Like if you have Jackson Holiday and you don't need him,
Yeah.
like you can go, you know what, we're going to put you in AAA.
Yeah. Says a lot.
That team, they have a second team of really
Yeah.
good players that are all going to be in AAA.
Wow.
They're so deep and good. And now Peter Angelos passed away the other day. They were bought by an ownership group that has a ton of money that is eager to spend money too. So at the trade deadline, the Orioles could go and get somebody
Anybody they
else
want.
too, right? Like they're now going to have money,
Yeah.
which there was one thing they didn't have in the years past.
And trade chips. Like they
Yeah.
have all these
Oh,
young
my
guys.
God,
They
yeah.
don't need,
Yeah, you can't keep them all. Yeah, Baltimore is great. I think they're the best team in the American League.
Before we go to our judgment,
Yeah.
I'm curious, Frank, who's going to win the World Series if it's not the Dodgers, Braves, or Orioles? You got anybody?
I don't, unfortunately.
Okay.
I don't.
He doesn't.
Okay.
No, I'm liking what I'm hearing.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, yeah.
These are the guys you like.
Frank's
yeah,
picking the Leafs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Canadians.
All right. Everyone sign your scorecard.
Thank you, because we're
these
about to get
receipts.
judged, and we want to make sure
Make it
you
official.
stick around for fair judgment. Okay, let's see how it goes.
All right. So, we bring back the best judges, the judges we loved, the judges that were entertaining, the judges we wanted to spend some time with, and we wanted more time with, so we brought them back. And I'm telling you what, we've got Steve Gardner joining us again. And I'll give you a little bio on Steve for those of you who didn't catch episode 11, the last time we had Steve on. After a decade in local radio covering news and sports, Steve Gardner has been a sports writer, columnist, and editor at USA Today since 1993. Along the way, he's covered 19 World Series, 6 MLB All-Star games, 1 Super Bowl, and many other sporting events. Since 2006, Steve has written a fantasy baseball column for USA Today's Sports Weekly, and since 2012 has been USA Today's senior fantasy editor. He has 19 National Sports Experts League titles to his credit, and in 2021, he was named to the Fantasy Sports Writers Association Hall of Fame. He's also a member of the Baseball Writers Association of America, and since 2021, a voter for the Baseball Hall of Fame. Here he is, Steve Gardner. Hello.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me back. This is great.
Fantastic.
Steve, we're now heading towards early April. We're getting into the season, obviously. How many fantasy baseball drafts were you in this season?
Let's see. I think it was 13 this year. 13. So that counts simulation leagues and everything else. But that's about as many as I want to get in. I'll tell you that. That's for sure.
No kidding. No kidding. How do you track all that? I mean, how do you know who to cheer for and who to hate?
I cheer for everybody. I mean, it seems like, for the most part, there's just about every baseball game that's going on. I've got a rooting interest to some degree, and sometimes I'm rooting against myself. So I just I kind of balance that all out, and we'll see how the teams do. And then I'll root for my good teams, and I will ignore my stepchildren bad teams. And it turns out fun. 19 times it's turned out pretty well. So
yeah, that's pretty good, pretty amazing. So Steve, who is the guy you have picked the most in those 13 leagues? Like, who's the guy where you almost have him in almost every one? because you wanted him.
Let's see. Unfortunately, I think Royce Lewis is one of those guys
Of course.
that I have, and already he's on the injured list.
Yes,
So you can see how this year is starting off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I generally will try and diversify my teams and not have one guy that I have to get, because a lot of times when I'm writing about these guys or talking about these guys, other people that I'm in leagues with will say, oh, well, he wants that guy, so I'm going to bid him up, or I'm going to do something like that. So I have to kind of try and work all sorts of different guys in, so that I don't get too many shares of one guy in particular. But I do have some favorites, and Royce Lewis was one of those that comes to mind real fast.
Yeah, I have him in our pool that we just did. Sandy and Matt and I are in. I got a home run out of him, and then right back to the again. Yeah.
I know you went to Florida because you do one that the big one is the one you do like face to face, and you're doing forever, right? This is like the legendary pool.
Yeah.
And so how much turnover is in that one exactly? Like, since you've been doing that one?
Well, we have now 3 leagues that we draft down in Florida, and it's called the League of Alternative Baseball Reality, and it is in year 31 now. I wasn't in when it began, but I took over for the commissioner and the guy that started it, John Hunt, and we have, I don't know, it's a couple of spots will turn over in each league on average every year. And it's interesting because we've got a group that has probably been there for like 20 years and keeps coming back. And then we have a new group of younger guys that, that keep us on our toes and do some different things and try some different strategies. And it makes for a really interesting league, obviously, a very high profile, highly competitive league. And we have an AL only, NL only, and a mixed league that we draft there in Florida. So I'm in 2 of those.
Steve, I'm sure most of your leagues, if you're in a lot, are online or virtual. But would you say there's just something about being in the room with the other teams drafting that you can't beat?
Absolutely. And whether you're doing it in a straight draft league or even better in the auction leagues, where you're sitting there and you're looking across the table from the people that, Ronald Acuna Jr., and it's 35 and 36. And and there are guys that you want to get, and you can tell, when you've played in leagues with people for a while, who their kind of favorite players are, who their favorite teams are. And, you get a little bit of that back and forth across the table. No, I'm not going to. I had, a league that I drafted in New York City was the Tout Wars League, which is another industry league. And it was an NL only league. And I have a soft spot, I think, for big power hitters that strike out a lot and walk. And Joey Gallo came up late in the draft. And I'm sitting there, and he's in Washington now, which is, around where I'm based. And I was like, Joey Gallo, okay, 7, 6, and 8, and like, I'm not gonna pay $8 for him. And then somebody bids 8, and somebody else bids 9, and it's like, he really does fit my team well. Okay, well, I'm not gonna bid 8 or 9, but I'll bid 10, that sort of thing. And you're just you're scowling at the other guys across the table. And it is fun. It is tremendous fun. And you gotta be fast on your feet and think a couple of moves ahead sometimes. And that's one of the greatest things, because then afterwards you can all go out to the pub or whatever and laugh about it. It's how, you got the best of me there, but I got this guy, and I wish I hadn't gone the extra $1 for that guy. So it is really tremendous fun, and it makes draft day the best day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Matt at our draft, we draft in person at the bar, and Matt gets upset if you have chicken wings and then go anywhere near his sheets. And Matt also one year had a font so tiny that only he could read that he brought a magnifying glass to the draft.
Yeah, I didn't realize how small. I wanted to get a lot of players on there. And,
well, that's one. I mean, if you don't want anybody to cheat off your paper,
That's true.
You make
It
the
worked.
font so small that only the magnifying glass works.
Yeah,
And
but then I couldn't read it, and things didn't go well then.
Eee.
a final before I ask the actual question, the final Matt thing is he likes to bring old fantasy magazines and slide them on the table from 10 years previous.
Oh, great.
He
Nice.
trick anybody into drafting Chase Utley in 2024. So are there any weird idiosyncrasies that those guys there must be that you're just like every year, like, oh, I forgot this guy always does this, or there's weird things he does when you get some people in person? Are you the guy?
A lot. Well, there are people that have their own strategies, that don't like to draft pitchers, starting pitchers and that sort of thing, and won't pay very much for a pitching staff, but will go all in on hitters. And occasionally, I mean, you can do some things in these standalone leagues, like what I did in our AL only league, is I had gotten a couple of, or it was an NL. I got like a Kyle Schwarber, a lot of these guys that are just power and horrible batting averages. And I said, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to get a forget batting average, and I'll pump the category and try and get, steals, get Ellie De La Cruz and get all these power speed guys and just try and see if that's a way that I can maybe zig while everybody else is zagging and be a little bit different and have an advantage that way. And so that's what I did. We'll see how that works. And another guy just completely ditched starting pitching in the Tout Wars draft. And so we'll see, how that strategy plays out.
Yeah. See, Matt, those are normal weird things, Matt. Just wanted to point, those are normal strategies. Matt and I especially were talking about this. We missed the days of the Baseball Weekly, that fantasy, the hard copy that fantasy got snide comments beside all the terrible catchers.
Yes,
we missed those days of with it. Who really was responsible? Was that collectively for those comments and the things that were happening in those boxes? Do you remember back?
Yes, it was mostly John Hunt, the guy that started Labor, who had the idea for how to lay that out. And it took him forever, obviously, to write all those all those comments and everything. So he was working on that, that particular issue for several weeks before it ever came to print. So yeah, that was his brainchild. And then when I took over, sort of tried to do that myself. And it was a huge task. I was like, I need help on this, folks. So we kind of made it a collective group effort. But yeah, that was one of the hallmarks of that issue was those draft grids and the comments and what little Easter eggs you could find in there. That only a handful of people maybe got the joke, but the ones that did thought it was hilarious.
We loved it.
It was very coveted, wasn't it? Like our 7-Eleven only had about 10 or something, so you had to make sure you got one.
Yeah. And it's worse now. I mean, we still put that issue out, but the distribution, it's not so much, this is the way that the world of print media has gone. It's not so much how many you sell now, it's how many that you print that you don't sell.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the benchmark. So the idea is to get them out there somewhere and everybody buys them all and you don't have any that go unsold. And so as a result, I get so many every year. People contact me on social media. Where can I find the Sports Weekly issue, fantasy issue? And it's like, I wish I could tell you because I can't even find them myself.
Yeah,
so,
that voice you just did was my voice, and I think, and that. So when Matt and I, as Matt alluded, when you were living in Winnipeg in the 90s, 7-Eleven in Winnipeg didn't have a lot of those. So. You were really, like I said, Matt said you had to be there the day of or they were going to be gone for sure. But just those great comments of like talking about a backup catcher who would say something like, a lot of people think this guy's going to be great this year. We don't. Like, just don't bother.
Scratch him off your draft list.
Yeah. Well, we should get into our draft, or we've done this job of judging current events in. And this, of course, was we predicted who we thought would win this season's major awards in MLB. So it's not digging too deep as we sometimes do. It's not obscure players, like your John Jaha, John Jaso from last, where we talked completely about a weird guy named John Jaso, and then we thought we were talking about John Jaha. It was all over the place. John Jaha and John Jaso are completely different people, it turns out.
Very much so. And I have to admit, I just read something about John Jaso like a couple days before I came on with you guys. I'm like, wow, that's a crazy guy, man. Good for him. He was living his best life, living on a yacht in the Caribbean somewhere. And
We were in
bring
our
up the
early
Brewers
days.
guy, and my mind just goes straight to that. Crazy John Jason.
And John Jaha is just living quietly in Oregon. So
polar opposites, almost.
Polar opposites. Yeah. All right, let's jump in. What we thought we'd do, Steve, is we would say, like, okay, so AL MVP, here's the 3 choices we make. Quick talk about those 3, and you tell us in that category who you think is most likely to, in your opinion, win the AL MVP. And if you have a different person altogether, comment on that too. And then we thought there's 7 categories. Whoever gets the most points out of the 7, they win the draft. Does that sound fair?
Okay, that sounds perfect.
So we have AL MVP, Julio Rodriguez, Juan Soto, and Corey Seager were the candidates here. So when you're looking at those 3, do you agree fully with one of them, or think, okay, this one has the best chance, or you have your own thoughts?
Well, I will tell you guys that we had to make our predictions for USA Today and Sports Weekly. So those are already out there for me. So I've got a little bit of a bias on who I picked because I think I'm right in all of them. I will say that in this particular case with Shohei Ohtani not in the American League, it opens things up now for any number of candidates to come in and win that award. And I think team success is probably going to have a large amount or maybe more of an amount of an impact on AL MVP this year than maybe in previous years. So that's why, if you like Julio Rodriguez and the Mariners, then he's a good pick. Juan Soto with the Yankees, a good pick. And Corey Seager, if he could stay on the field, I mean, his numbers could have rivaled Shohei Ohtani's from an offensive point of view last year. So if forced to make a pick, and you guys are not going to give any speeches or anything like that.
Never.
I will say that my ruling would be Julio Rodriguez because of the speed, the power, and the potential for the Mariners to kind of be a dark horse team to make the playoffs, to advance in the playoffs. And I'll show my bias. I have them going to the World Series and winning the AL. So for that reason, I think Julio Rodriguez is a 40-40 type guy, could be this year, and it could be his coming out MVP party.
All right.
Okay. So the person who voted, please step forward.
Who voted?
Who took that guy? Who took Rodriguez?
Okay, so we're gonna say yeah, that was me. I went with Julio Rodriguez for
so Matt had 1 point on the board. All right.
Woo.
So NL MVP, we have Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuna.
Right, so do you guys, I mean, do you have any rebuttal or anything like that, or do I just get to be the iron fist judge?
You get to be the iron fist.
And say Matt wins. Congratulations.
If we argued each one, we'd be here for hours.
That's true. Okay.
No, we will argue about things if we really feel it. We might. might.
Okay.
You get a pass on that one for sure. So NL MVP, Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuna, and Fernando Tatis Jr. What do you think there?
All right. I think the easy answer is Ronald Acuna. I mean, he is so good. He does so many things. That last season was historic. If he even comes anywhere close to the numbers that he put up last year, he's going to be a slam dunk MVP. I will say, though, I did not pick Ronald Acuna. And I think if you go off the board, you could go off the board and say Mookie Betts and be very, very legitimate, have a great case. I went and had maybe a little bit further off the board. I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr. is the guy that has Acuna-like talent. And I think, if the Padres can somehow the Braves are going to be in the playoffs. The Dodgers are going to be in the playoffs. The Padres are on the borderline. And I think Fernando Tatis can make a difference there. I think from his defense, Gold Glove winner last year, can do a lot of the same things that Ronald Acuna Jr. does. So for me, I think Fernando Tatis is a nice, if you're a betting man and you want to go with a little bit longer odds, I think Fernando Tatis is a great choice.
Nice.
So if you all three pick different guys, I would give bonus points to the Fernando Tatis picker. But it's really hard to pick against Ronald Acuna Jr. repeating.
Yeah. Well, I think Mike deserves credit for the Tatis pick. I think that was a little off. I was not really on my top 3 or 4 even. So I think that's credit to Mike. What do you say, Matt?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like we're saying if he's healthy, he could be Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so.
Sounds like Matt's trying to shift your argument there, Steve.
Sounds like I picked Ronald.
It could be last year's Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's very true.
The reason I picked the other thing I took in mind when making some of these picks too is writers love narrative.
That is true.
And it's harder for guys to repeat for those kind of awards. Like if Acuna again has a 35 and 40 season, it's not quite as good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Dave's, like you said, everybody expects them to go. Olsen's great, Riley's great. They have so many good players. My kind of thought was like, if the Padres have a better year this year, which I think they will, then there's less guys on that team who could kind of be seen as the whatever. So that was my rationale.
The driving force behind the Padres doing better, even when they don't have Juan Soto, they don't have Blake Snell and all those guys, and Josh Hader from last year.
I think it's a better story in some ways.
Yeah,
maybe.
I do think I agree with that. I do think there have been numerous back-to-back MVPs, or just, like something like 13.
Yes, of course. It's just harder to do it. There's lots of times where if it's close, they vote for the other guy because it's an interesting story or whatever.
Yeah.
Mike Trout could have won a couple more MVPs.
Yeah.
Moving into AL Cy Young, our picks are Corbin Burns, Luis Castillo, and Kevin Gausman. Who are we thinking here?
Ooh, I'll tell you what. Judging from Corbin Burns' first start in Baltimore, it's hard to pick against him. I had a sleeper dark horse Cy Young pick. I'll give you that first. Tarek Skubal. The Tigers has been amazing since coming back from his injury at the end of last year. In spring training, he was fabulous. His opening day start, 6 innings, scoreless, and then the Tigers won it 1-0. So he was my AL Cy Young Award winner. But in this case, it's hard to go against Corbin Burns. I mean, he's won it before. So there's, and winning it in both leagues, there's your narrative. Hey, Corbin Burns comes over and he can dominate the American League just as well. So, and again, the one thing that the Orioles lacked last year in, as we saw in the postseason, having that ace that could come out and dominate and be the guy. And certainly Corbin Burns has that kind of talent. And so while I do like Gausman as well, I think Corbin Burns is the guy.
Yeah.
And pay no attention to that Orioles helmet back
This is Matt's pick, was it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sandy, you were Gausman, weren't you?
Yes. My homer pick in some ways, but I still truly think that could be, again, it's what Steve alluded to off the top. It's going to depend on if the Jays do anything at all, that storyline is going to be heavily dependent on Kevin Gausman having a great year, right? It's just going to matter. So Castillo, the same. So that's the same storyline there.
Kevin Gausman, former Oriole, by the way.
Thank you for correct. Let's get into the NL Cy Young or picks. Spencer Strider, Max Fried, and Zach Wheeler. So these are all tough picks here.
Yeah, great pitchers. I think Strider probably is the odds-on favorite, and is the most dominant. I think probably could get close to 300 strikeouts this year. But I picked Zach Wheeler, and so I'm going to say Zach Wheeler because, again, a little bit of a narrative thing. The Phillies are the Wile E. Coyote that are chasing after the Braves in that division. And Wheeler is so good, so dominant that I think he can, kind of pull them along as well. Aaron Nola's great, but I think he's the 1A to Zach Wheeler as the one. And so I think this is the year that Wheeler comes through, does his thing. Strider has, every so often he's super dominant, but he'll allow a home run at an inopportune time. And look at his ERA was, in the threes, where somebody who is as dominant as he is, should have like a 2.5 ERA or something like that. But there always seems to be something, he lets up, or they get his best pitch. And I think that's maybe his Achilles heel. So I like Zach Wheeler as a more consistent and dominant type starter.
Okay. Yeah. Wheeler beat him on opening day too. So
that's true. Got the head-to-head advantage already.
So you've already got proof. This is like we're doing this weekend. This is a weekend. We all know exactly what's going to happen this year, right?
All set.
Wheeler, that was Mike?
That was Mike. Yeah, Mike took that one. AL Rookie of the Year. Now, this is when it gets a little more tricky, I think, with some of these picks here. So AL Rookie was your Evan Carter, your Wyatt Langford, and Colton Cowser. So there's some interesting ones in there. What do you think there, Steve?
Indeed. I'll tell you what, Wyatt Langford has gotten so much publicity, so much hype, and he's kind of lived up to it throughout the entire spring. We did see Evan Carter last year at the end of the season, and he was fantastic as the Rangers made their run to the World Series. So I think both of those guys are probably a notch above Colton Cowser in Baltimore. And I think because Langford is getting some of this preseason helium, fact that they're having him DH to start may have Carter being a little bit more valuable. The one thing that I don't know, and I haven't really seen enough evidence of, is Carter did not hit left-handed pitchers well, and it did not have success against them. Maybe a little bit more in the postseason, but did not during his regular season last year. He's got to prove to me that he can hit them, and Langford is going to be in there every day. If Carter gets kind of platooned, I think that takes away a little bit of his value. So I'm going to go with the hot hand and Wyatt Langford and say he's going to be your Rookie of the Year, and he was my pick as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. And that, of course, was that you? Was that Matt or Mike? Who was that one?
That was me. Yeah.
Matt. Okay, it's getting tight.
Andy, I'm not hitting on your picks.
I don't know why the hell I pick an Oriole if you're not going to pick them. I tried everything I could. I wore the T-shirt. I picked an Oriole.
Right. What about Corbin Burns? That wasn't your guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is it Steve,
Jackson Holiday?
Yeah, is it weird that we don't have Jackson Holiday in there?
It is, and I think one of the things that the fact that he was sent down, it doesn't, to me, reflect the value that he is going to have this season. Talk about hitting left-handed pitching. I think that's one of the things that the Orioles wanted to see, and one of the things that they mentioned when they sent him down is that he really didn't have a whole lot of success during the spring against really good left-handed pitching. So he goes down to Norfolk, able to show that he can handle that. I think he comes up sometime this month, perhaps even, and becomes the starting second baseman, and he could certainly be in that mix as well.
Yeah, I know that was what they said, but I'm pretty sure Jorge Mateo wasn't hitting left-handers very well either. And he's still on that team instead of Jackson Holiday. So I don't know. It's a weird one to me that he's not there, but that's probably why none of us picked him. Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting too, is that the Orioles had Gunnar Henderson on their opening day roster last year. Yeah. He won the Rookie of the Year. They got an extra draft pick.
I know.
And that was one that they helped. It helped them land Corbin Burns because they threw that draft pick in the deal with Milwaukee. Yeah. So they know what the value is of having that extra pick and having him up on opening day. So yeah, I guess there's maybe a little bit more legitimacy to sending him down, knowing what they know from last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can't be long, though. Just can't be.
No,
long.
I wouldn't think so. No.
He hit a home run in his first at bat in AAA.
That'll do it. And what was the stat you looked at the other day, Mike? Was it Wyatt Langford that was intentionally walked his first at bat? Is that what the number was?
Became the first Ranger to be walked intentionally walked in his first major league game.
Yeah. Yes, that's a lot.
Jeez.
You'll always remember your first major league at bat. You're intentionally walked.
Yeah. I don't know if it was his first at bat, it was his first game.
Okay, got it. Thank you. NL Rookie of the Year. Here we go. Jackson Churio, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I always have to say that like I'm a bad guy on Magnum PI when I pronounce Japanese players' names. Don't put enough finesse into them. Kyle Harrison. So those are your three choices for NL Rookie of the Year.
I will not let recency bias sway my choice here. It's got to be Yamamoto. I mean, the guy was just ridiculously good in Japan for the last 3 seasons. ERA, around the 1.5 for 3 entire seasons. Their Cy Young equivalent all 3 seasons. I mean, this guy has so much talent. He is so good. I can't wait to see him, pitch in, on this continent. Maybe he's better on this continent than he is in Korea, but still, he's got to be the choice. And as much as I wanted to make a little statement when I made my picks, I picked Jackson Merrill of the Padres. Just going out there. And I don't know why. Maybe it was just to be different, but I think Yamamoto is hands down going to be the most exciting rookie, and not to take away from any of the rest of the rookies in the NL, but he's proven on the international stage, World Baseball Classic, and all of that, how good he is when he's facing the best hitters. I just look at his bad start in Korea as a bump in the road, and he's going to be fantastic.
And that's your guy, Matt?
No, that's Mike.
Oh, thank God. Okay. Well, before we get to now we're leaving the awards to pick our World Series champs. And I have Matt has 1, 2, 3. Mike has 1, 2, 3. I have 0. So this is all going to come down to this World Series pick. It's quite interesting.
Don't get swept, Sandy. Don't get swept.
No problem. Steve, I notice your Orioles are in there. Dodgers, Braves, Orioles. Who do you think of those 3 World Series champions? If you've got a fourth, you want to know that, of course, too. And then again,
I don't know who the fourth would be.
There you go. Okay.
I mean, unless you're thinking the Astros or something, because they're always in the World Series. But
if the Rangers pitching gets healthy in the second half, maybe like.
That's true. Yeah, DeGrom and Scherzer coming in there with that offense.
They got to stay alive till then, but yeah,
that's good. That's plausible. And I guess
still didn't pick them though.
No. I hate to be the chalk guy here again, but I think with Yamamoto and Tyler Glasnow, and then getting Walker Buehler back, and you add those to the Betts, Freeman, Ohtani. I don't see how the Dodgers screw it up. Basically, I mean, this is a super team. It's going to be, a lot of times if you get a super team, they're not fun to watch. I think this is going to be a fun Dodgers team to watch. So I'm gonna go ahead and open myself up to the Dodgers disappointing again somehow, but they have to be the favorite. They're my pick. I will reward the person who picked the Dodgers because I think they're the best team in baseball right now.
Matt, Mike, suck it.
He's on the board.
So we've gone through all of these, and we have not determined a winner.
We have gotten down to a tie here between Matt and Mike. I think we have to have a tiebreaker. I'm just trying to rack my brain. What is the best way to tie break? Is there a category on the fly these two could pick somebody, and we just go, Steve, which one of those is a better pick? Is it manager? Is it what's that?
Oh, you were thinking a new category. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, something that was like, okay, could that be something that, or do we just simply flip an American coin and he tells us?
How about who's going to be the worst team in baseball?
There we go.
Would that be a terrible note to end on?
Yeah,
I think it's a
that's
wonderful
good.
note for this
That's
kind of
good.
show. Off the top of your heads, Matt, Mike, offer up who you think the worst team in baseball is going to be, and Steve will judge your best pick.
Okay, go ahead, Matt.
Matt, go ahead.
Well, okay. There's two. I got one in America. I'll go Oakland.
Yep. Mike?
Yeah, I think because of the division they play in, I'm going to take the Rockies.
Okay.
Just
Steve.
because the other four teams in that division, the Padres, the Giants, the Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers are all playoff quality teams. They got to play them all the time. They're not like what they give up 14 runs in an inning the other day. Oof.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll take Colorado. Yeah.
Although the AL West is pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
that's
But
a
your
compelling
World Series team is in that division, Steve.
That is true. All right.
Yeah.
You know what? When I threw that out there and I hadn't heard either one of you make your picks, I figured those were the two teams that you would say.
Yep.
And in the back of my mind, I think Oakland's pretty scrappy. And I think they're going to win some games that a lot of people weren't counting on them winning. So I'm going to say the Rockies are the worst team in baseball. So congratulations, Mike.
That's fair.
Ah!
I felt bad about as soon as I picked Oakland. I felt bad about it. I feel like they should, but oh man, what a story that would be if they did really well this year.
Obviously, I would have picked Oakland if Matt had picked Colorado.
That's the advantage of deferring the opening kickoff, right?
Yeah. I do agree with you, though. I think Oakland is scrappier. Like Colorado, they all look dead inside. They look like vampires already. And Oakland does. They're pluckier, and they seem to kind of. I think Kotze has them playing harder somehow, or so, I don't know. Colorado just defeated already.
Did you see that at Oakland's home opener that there was a huge tailgate party?
Yeah.
And then only a few of them went into the stadium. And so they had like 13,000 or whatever for opening day when normally, they're selling out and it's 40. And like apparently more people stayed in the parking lot and watched on like big screen, portable screen TVs and watched the game there and tailgated throughout the whole game, then went in and paid for a ticket and bought concessions and gave Fisher and company, their hard-earned dollars. I thought that was really
I love
interesting.
it. I love the protest. If I lived in Oakland, I'd be really upset too. Like it's just like Montreal. It's really sad.
It does have some of the same vibes, doesn't it?
Yeah, like the problem is more the stadium and the ownership than the fans, but the fans end up losing their team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the ownership shows such disdain for the fan base, and yet they're still there, and they still want to root for a team, but it makes it so hard.
It's awful.
I think the Rockies are going to play this podcast in the clubhouse.
Okay.
Turn things around for them. Bryant's going to stay healthy all year.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Kyle Freeland for Cy Young, right? That would be quite the narrative.
That would be.
That would be. There was a little known podcast that turned things around in the Colorado season.
Next year, we're doing this podcast again, like in our glory.
Oh man, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. My favorite line of this entire podcast was, "Congratulations, Mike. You picked the worst team in baseball."
You win.
I'm the real winner.
Steve, so amazing to have you back. Thank you so much for jumping on. We will come back in October and see how this all went down, see who actually was the real winner, including who was the worst team in baseball.
Yeah.
So thanks for providing that angle too.
I look forward to finding out all the answers.
Yeah.
Steve, have yourself a great rest of your weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
All right. Well, we're going to see, I guess when we get back here in October, we can see who did what. We'll have to remind our fans out there what we picked here in episode 39.
Yeah.
and then tell them, and then see who was right and who was wrong.
And I mean, in fairness, some of them obviously were third picks on the list, but like that's the roll of the dice, you know.
Yeah, that may not matter.
No, that's right.
Yeah, you know, we're taking some shots. You know.
Yeah.
There's seven categories here.
Yeah.
Loser buys dinner.
Yeah.
Loser buys dinner.
Whoever wins the least categories. Yeah.
Yeah, buys dinner.
Okay.
Not including Frank. Frank gets included in dinner, but he doesn't have to.
If the Leafs win the World Series,
Yeah.
Frank buys.
Matt, you in? Loser buys dinner.
Oh yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, it's on the record.
Here it is. Frank gets to pick the restaurant.
Video.
No, we never. No. That's the part.
All right, well, we'll see what happens in the fall. But until then, we'll see you next time. We have another episode 40 coming up for later in April. This was episode 39 for April 2nd of This Day in Sports. I'm Sandy Job and Bevins.
I'm Matt Kippen.
I'm Mike Shera.
And there's Frank Russo.
Frank, can we get a seal?
No, it's not teed up. Sorry.
Okay.
There
we go.
Seal. About Kissed by a Rose. Was that what it's called?
Yeah.
Is that what the song called? Kiss by
From a Rose?
Kiss from a Rose, right. You know what? We're never going to get by. Let we all get a little crazy.
On
This Day in Sports.